When it comes to investing, Warren Buffett is a real tycoon. As you may all know, he is an American investor and the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. He transformed the seed capital of only $10,000 to over $80 billion in 6 decades. Exhilarating, right? Warren Buffett might be born with business running through his veins. In this video, we shall have a look at Warren Buffett's possessions and stocks, why he is so rich now, and what are the companies he owns. Hey fam, welcome back to our channel. Before we begin, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to our channel. Let's get right into the video now, shall we? Did you know that Warren purchased his first stock when he was only 11 years old? Yes, that's right, he started young to become the success he is today. As a teenager, Warren took up some odd jobs to earn a living, such as washing cars, delivering newspapers, and working in the family's grocery store. Even as a young man, he had big ideas. For example, he used up his savings to buy several pinball machines and placed them in local businesses. He became an entrepreneurial success very early on, but that did not translate into his desire to attend college. However, with a lot of pressure from his father, he continued to go to the University of Nebraska, where he graduated with a business degree. Through his mentor Benjamin Graham in later years, he learned the fundamentals of value investing. During one of the interviews, Warren stated that Graham's book, called The Intelligent Investor, changed his life and set him on the path of professional analysis to the investment markets.
Janet Lowe is here, incidentally, today. She wrote a very good book on Ben Graham. I recommend that any of you that haven't read it go out.
By 1959, Warren had a total of 7 partnerships, and in more than $1 million of partnership assets, he had a 9.5 stake. A few years later, Warren became a millionaire. This propelled his need to merge all of his partnerships into a single entity. So, aggressively, he bought a lot of shares in the Berkshire Hathaway company. The irony of this is that he says that Berkshire Hathaway's purchase is one of the biggest regrets. But he had to make everything count. Therefore, he turned this into a holding company to buy an insurance company called the National Indemnity Group. He used the substantial cash flow from this purchase to finance several other acquisitions. Warren once said, and I quote, "I call investing the greatest business in the world because you never have to swing. All day you wait for the pitch you like. Then when the fielders are asleep, you step up and hit it." He also said that if you're going to be thinking anyway, you might as well think big. Warren happens to have a talent for allocating capital. He is famously known for the Oracle of Omaha because of his eminent achievement in his business investments. He is also a philanthropist. He has donated tens of billions of dollars to charity over many years. Let's take a more in-depth look into his portfolio now. Let us examine the stocks and possessions he has in different companies. First, Warren's biggest stock purchase is in the Apple company. It makes up 23.77% of Berkshire Hathaway's total revenue. Arguably, Apple is one of the most famous companies in the world. Warren may have sold as much as $5 billion of Apple stock last year, making the biggest holding in his portfolio. The second largest stock of the Hathaway business is in the Bank of America, which makes up to 12.4% of Hathaway's portfolio. This immense boost of stock in the bank was because Warren shelled out up to $2.1 billion on the Bank of America over 12 consecutive trading days. Although the stocks he owns in this bank is huge, he may have to wait for several years to expect a meaningful return from his investment. This is because they have to wait until the country recovers economically and remains until the interest rates move higher. Berkshire is Bank of America's most significant stockholder. Warren did this despite the disadvantage of waiting for many years because he wants to make the right amount of accumulation here so that when the stock price rises, he has got a good position overall. The third largest investment by Warren Buffett is in the Coca-Cola company. It covers up to 11% of Hathaway's portfolio. Buffett bought more than $1 billion in Coca-Cola shares in 1988. Even after so many years of purchase, why has he held onto this share for so long? Coca-Cola was and is one of the dominant companies in the beverage industry. This kind of success, recognition, and retail relationships protect it from encroachment by competitors. Buffett understood this basic idea. No competitor will take away Coca-Cola's market share and make it a reasonable investment. Wells Fargo is a commercial bank that provides financial services. Warren Buffett's investment in Wells Fargo makes up to 9.9% of his portfolio, making it his 4th largest stock possession. He originally spent about $290 million, but that ownership position grew as high as $500 million by 2016. Later in 2017, the investment peaked at more than $29 billion, representing an almost 250% gain on its initial cost. However, recent fake account scandals attached to this bank might explain why Warren has been rough and clumsy in this investment. Another investment that was pivotal in Warren Buffett's career is his investment in American Express. It wasn't any average investment Buffett made. He didn't do it to liquidate the company, but to profit from its prosperity with time. Even after the barrel of substantial loan losses incurred by American Express after the salad oil scandal, Buffett was ready to buy stocks because he believed that those losses were only temporary and the brand has enormous value. He plunged low at $35 per share, but over 3 years' time, the share price rapidly advanced to $70 per share, making Buffett millions. Today, American Express covers 8.3% of Hathaway's portfolio, making it the 5th largest stock investment. Warren Buffett's 6th largest investment is in Kraft Heinz. It comes up to 5.3% of his company's portfolio. Warren owns more than 325 million shares of Kraft Heinz, which makes up to 26.7% of the company itself. However, when the company continued to tumble down, Buffett lost almost $5 billion on his investment in the company. Nevertheless, to remedy this situation, Hathaway and 3G Capital jointly bought Kraft Heinz for $23 billion and merged with Kraft 2 years later. Warren acknowledges that he made a mistake by paying too much for the shares in Heinz. Despite all this, it remains the 6th biggest investment of Hathaway's portfolio. Warren sold a substantial amount of stock in US Bancorp recently. About a total of 497,768 Bancorp shares were sold. According to the Securities and Exchange Commission, Berkshire Hathaway has overall ownership of 150.5 million bank shares. This makes it the 7th largest investment Warren has made. He indicated that Hathaway's stake in US Bancorp is under 10%. Recent data suggests that it is nearly 3.1%. Because of the hard hit by coronavirus-induced volatility, shares closed at only $29.45 in the previous year. Despite the apparent loss, Warren said at the company's annual shareholders meeting that banks aren't his primary concern right now because they have built up ample reserves and have their balance sheets. Warren's other investment in the top list is General Motors with 80 million shares, Bank of New York Mellon with 72.4 million shares, and SiriusXM with 50 million shares. He also made minor investments compared to the rest in other companies such as Southwest Airlines, Goldman Sachs, and Delta Airlines. Warren had a bright vision for his business. He indeed was able to make that vision into reality and to be successful. He has inspired several companies and employees to see the same or even better picture, strive towards it, and make it flourish. When Buffett initially took over Berkshire Hathaway, it was deemed a failure. His exceptional potential, transformational philosophies, and strategies helped him bring out success in his company. As a matter of fact, Berkshire Hathaway is the largest public company and the 1st largest financial service company that has been established on the face of the earth. His values, learning, and gaining abilities make him what he is today. Overall, he is an optimist and a good leader. What makes him even more inspirational as a leader is that he owns up to his mistakes and does not seem to make any excuses to cover anything up. Acknowledging errors is one of the best ways for leaders and workers, and Warren, in turn, becoming a role model for today's youth. Right now, Buffett's portfolio is colorful with over 47 securities that are worth over $260 billion. To relate better, Warren Buffett reached many of his milestones with lots of success. He learned from his wrongs and proved to be one of the best investors out there. In fact, today, if one is to talk about investing, then Warren Buffett's name surely comes into that conversation. And that was all about Warren Buffett for all of you out there, and that being said, we have come to the end of today's video. Have you been inspired by Warren Buffett's life? Let us know in the comments how Warren's life has inspired you. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications for more. See you soon.
Are not any better than they were 5 years ago, but stock prices are 50% higher or thereabouts. So maybe the stock market is really correcting a previous incorrect forecast.